All right, guys, what's going on? We're live. Welcome to a brand new Poker Life podcast. My name is Joey Ingerman, aka Chicago Joey. Joined today again by a young man who, the last time we had him on the podcast, he was one of my first guests I ever had on, and he was just getting started with his new show, Poker Night in America. And since that point, it's gone through a little bit of development. It's sort of like changed from the original format, it seems like, and now it's taken over. It's taken over everywhere, man. It's on Twitch all the time. It's on American television pretty often. There's cash games everywhere in every casino, and we're gonna talk all about that. We'll talk about some other things, I'm sure. We got Todd Anderson in the house. What's up, Todd? Welcome back.
Great. Thanks for having me again. 3 years later.
I think I had you on last June, like a year and a half ago, June, I believe. Like it was about when I just started doing podcasts, so it was almost 2 years ago.
Okay, maybe that's when it was.
How was that a good intro? Did I accurately describe you?
Oh, I think you really need to talk about our world domination even more than you did.
Well, in a way, you are kind of poker world dominating, though.
No, not even close. We're just getting started too. We're growing up together, you and us.
Guys, so for you that don't know Todd helped create. All right, so I'm never sure if you created the Heartland Poker Tour, but you're technically co-founder of the Poker Night in America. Is that accurate?
Actually, that's the other way around. A partner and I started Heartland Poker Tour in 2005. Poker Night in America is just me.
Poker Night in America is just yours, you said?
Yep. Well, I've got partners in Chicago, but yeah, it's my idea.
And so when Poker Night in America started, it was like you wanted to tell the behind the scenes sort of thing. You wanted to show like the activities that the players were doing, sort of like when they're traveling and the fun type of things. But it seems like it's changed. The format's changed now to have it featuring cash games. It seems like you're trying to have a regular rotation of like, I guess, bigger names who sort of play at most of the events. And then you rotate that with maybe some up and coming poker players, maybe some celebrities and stuff like that. But I guess the focus isn't as necessarily as much as it was on like the backstory part when you first started?
Yeah, when we first started, I think we knew we wanted to do something different with poker. And in an ideal world, we probably would have done more features and off the table stuff. But the reality of it is, you bring your truck, you bring your crew, you film the poker game, and that's, we're trying to create a lot of content, and that's the simplest and most economical way to create content is to just play the game. So I think the way I would frame it now is Poker Night in America was really developed to try to bring back some of the people that we all watched, years ago on poker. I think one of the problems with a lot of televised poker today is you're just featuring players that quite frankly, you've never seen before.
Right.
So we want, I remember back in 2003, 2004, don't you remember, I mean, you were, younger than I am, but don't you remember seeing like Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Negreanu, and that's what kind of made it, right? Mike the Mouth Mattisau, that was what made it so interesting, is you saw some of the same people quite often. So Poker Night in America is just, we engineered a cash game because we're not at the mercy of the tournament, to who's going to make the final table. So we can create our own table and try to bring in some personalities and some interesting people, celebrities, poker players. We also give a chance for people to get on through either a satellite system, or maybe they could win their way on with our sponsor 888, or they can go to the local casino and get their way on that way. So we've had lots of different people play.
I think you make a pretty good point about the people who are on mainstream American and even I guess the international shows that are I guess popular with Americans that they watch online. A lot of those players are guys that you really like. I know personally because they're from the online world mainly, or they've sort of have been playing online, but I think most mainstream poker fans don't really know who they are. So I guess, is it important to you to potentially try to build up new people who could be stars or well-known or, known in their own right?
You know what? I don't really think that's imperative at all. I think for us, we're just trying to bring in a wide variety, a wide spectrum of different players. This is going to sound a little strange, but I don't think our core fan base is poker players. I think poker players, by and large, they don't watch poker on TV much anymore. They've seen it. They've done it. It's not a big deal for them anymore. So what Poker Night in America, one of the goals I wanted my parents to watch it. I wanted, people that don't necessarily play poker or are interested in poker find something interesting in it. So I would say majority of the people that watch our show aren't even poker players.
So the people that watch the edited version of it that airs on CBS Sports aren't poker players, but I guess the people that watch on Twitch.
Okay, two different audiences.
Okay.
If you're watching on Twitch, I would put you in the hardcore category. Okay. If you're watching us on CBS Sports Network, completely different audience. Completely different. This weekend we're going to be up in California and we're going to have a Twitch stream. We're going to be on the homepage for Twitch for 3 days, and we've got a great lineup. I'll tell you more about it later. But if you tune into that, you're hardcore. Okay, you want to watch poker, and for that we have David Tuckman doing the analysis, and he's talking about all the things that poker players want to talk about. They want to talk about value betting. They want to talk about for betting, out of position, blah blah blah. But if you notice on the show, if you watch Poker Night in America, we never talk about those things. We never use jargon, because that confuses people. We don't want to turn off our audience by saying something like, "Oh, he 4-bet, open shove, whatever." That's immediately, my mom doesn't understand that. So we basically have a rule: you cannot do that in the commentary booth if you're on Poker Night in America. Does that make sense?
For sure. So you're kind of going the opposite route that the World Series of Poker commentary has gone, where because they're starting to, I mean, they kind of been doing this for a couple of years now, where they're mentioning these terms like that I'm sure many people don't really understand exactly. So your actual produced version, you don't want. So who's the guy that does the commentary mainly? What's his name? Chris
Hansen.
Chris Hansen. He's like a pro's pro. He's like a very professional commentator, announcer.
Well, he might be. He as far as a poker player goes, I would call him. He's a casual recreational player. He is an entertainer. He's a disc jockey. He's the #1 rated disc jockey in my hometown. He's done poker. He worked for me at Heartland Poker Tours, so he's done a lot of hours of TV. He's very polished. He's very smooth, but he's not, in the true sense of the word, he's not a poker player. Well, if we get into the analysis of it, I really wouldn't trust him to do it. I mean, he's a great friend of mine, but that's not what we do.
Well, that's what I meant by a pro's pro. I meant he's a pro's pro at just being a commentator, being a voice, being an announcer. I mean, I don't really know his poker experience, but I just like his delivery, the way his voice sounds, like the way he's really good at his job. I'm not surprised to hear that he's a #1 DJ. And you live in Minnesota, right?
Close. I live in North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, which is across the river. So yeah, he's the #1 disc jockey in Fargo Moorhead. It's kind of like being the world's tallest midget.
I was gonna say how many DJs are there? Is it like one DJ? Is like you win by default sort of thing? What's it?
There's several morning shows in town. I give him a hard time, but we're all from Fargo, so we're self-deprecating by nature. Obviously we're a fairly small town, but Chris is a funny guy, and he's good at his job. We're actually, one of the things we're going to do right now is bring in a second commentator, because we're trying to upgrade the show. So we think Chris could use a sidekick, somebody that he can bounce things off of and improve the quality of the show. We're actually on a hiatus right now. We are for first quarter of this year, we're just going to be rerunning episodes on CBS Sports, but we've got 100 to choose from. Like, we've already done 100 episodes. So starting in April, you're going to see a new look to Poker Night in America with Chris Hansen and somebody be named later, hopefully soon, maybe Joe.
Are you thinking about doing someone like a Stapleton or Tuckman sort of thing? Or are you thinking about going a poker player, but maybe someone who's not been out there with his voice out there as often? Or what's your idea on that?
Well, why don't we just table that? I'll tell you as soon as it's confirmed, because I've offered the job to somebody, and I'm waiting to hear back from that person. And as soon as that happens, we'll make the announcement. But I'm looking for comedy. I'm looking for entertainment, if that tells you anything.
I think that tells me Very something. I think that tells me exactly what I would be thinking. So that definitely makes sense. Guys, we are on YouTube and on Twitch right now. If anyone has any comments, questions throughout, feel free to leave them in the chat. And I see a lot of regulars in the chat today. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Much love as always. How do you gauge if things have been successful? Do you gauge it in terms of the people that tune in online? Do you gauge it on how many people watch the television show? Like, how do you view it?
It's a pretty simple answer. First and foremost, are people watching it on TV? I talked to the programming director yesterday from CBS Sports. Last year on CBS Sports, our show aired 512 times.
Wow.
So let's think about that for a second. That's about 10 times per week. That's a lot. I mean, the show aired a lot. So what he told me yesterday is he called the show bulletproof, meaning it does great numbers no matter where they put it. They're flexible. They can put it anytime during the week, Monday through Sunday. We've got our Monday night time slot that we're guaranteed on, and that's 10 o'clock Eastern. But beyond that, CBS Sports can run it as often as they want. So it's great programming for them. So he loves it. And he said to me, he's like, we're in reruns right now, but it continues to perform. You're just, things have changed a lot in the last year and a half. People know what it is now. A year and a half ago when we first talked, people didn't have any idea what it is.
Yeah.
But, I'm a big believer in frequency and tonnage. So the show has been on a lot. And not only is it on CBS Sports, but we air it on a lot of regional sports networks. So if you live in Chicago, you can find it on Comcast. If you live on the Mountain West states, you can find it on Altitude Sports. If you live in Pittsburgh, we're on Root Sports, Houston, Seattle. So there's a lot of ways to see it, and that's how I judge it. If people come up to me and say, hey, I like your show, I've seen your show, that to me is success. I like it, it's growing. And then, it really the proof is in how many people want to play on the show now. A year and a half ago, I literally chartered a jet. Like 2 years ago, I chartered a jet, and I flew people to Las Vegas, from Las Vegas to New York to film our first episodes because I needed to do something spectacular to get them to go. Like Phil Locke would never have come. Mike the Muff Matasawa would have never have come, but they did because we got a really cool jet, and so they came out. But now Phil Locke has been on the show many times. He loves it. So it's come a long way, but I'm looking forward to the future. I think we're on the right track. I think we just offer something different. It's not the World Poker Tour. There's a place for that. It's not the World Series. There's a place for that. World Poker Tour, our show is just different. And I think it helps build a poker audience. I hope anyway.
I think so. I think what do you think the feedback is from people in terms of cash games versus tournaments? Because I feel like a lot of poker players, they don't even know what a cash game is. And not poker players, but poker fans. They don't know exactly what cash games are. Like anytime someone says, "Oh, so you play tournaments," I'm like, "Well, no, I play cash games mainly. That's mainly what I play." But that's never really been on television. So when people give you feedback, what do they say? Do they understand it? Is it are they confused?
You know what? I think they do understand it. I think tournaments are more confusing. Like if you sat down and you were watching the World Series of Poker with somebody that's never seen poker before, and you say something like, he's sitting on a stack of 23 million in chips. Do you find that confusing?
I know what's happening. I find it sometimes confusing. So yeah.
Don't you think that a novice, like if your mom sat down with you and watched, and then she said to you, so he's got $23 million in front of him, he should just quit.
Right, for sure. Oh yeah.
Isn't that, you know what I mean? But cash is simple. It's simple. Okay, we're playing with real money, and we say that all the time during the show. This is real money. This is their own money, and we don't really play with that high of stakes. Our games are $25.50 with a $20,000 max buy-in. So it's nothing, and we do that by design. Like we're trying to make it fun. We want people to have a good time, and that's what the show is all about.
Do you get a lot of feedback from people that watch the show that aren't necessarily poker players then? Like, I don't know how much face-to-face interaction you might have, or maybe they give you feedback through the website or Twitter or on YouTube or something like that?
Yeah, we get feedback all the time through social media. For the most part, it's all positive. People, the nice thing about our show is it's not a huge time commitment. It's a half-hour show. you see a snapshot. Basically, you see a snapshot into a game, and it's a half hour, and boom, we're out the door. So pretty simple.
Do you like the 30-minute versus the 60-minute?
I do, because in this day and age, when we have very, very short attention spans, I think it's just it's a lot more palatable for people to, if you're going to sit down and watch a 2-hour movie, that's a big commitment. But a half-hour show, you take it in doses. I mean, have you ever found yourself sitting down watching like a marathon of, whatever, Seinfeld?
South Park.
South Park. Okay, there you go. So you might jump in and say, okay, I'm going to watch a little bit. It's not a huge commitment. But next thing you know, you've watched it for 2 hours. I bet you that's happened.
That happened to me last week, yeah.
Okay, well, Poker Night in America, you don't have to. It's non-linear. It's not like you have to watch to see a conclusion. You can just tune in and watch a half hour, or watch 2 or 3 episodes. Sometimes CBS will run a marathon of our show. They'll run 12 episodes back to back.
Yeah, I really like. I'm always like, when I'm on my television and surfing through the channels after sports is over, I always see it on. It feels like, and I always end up watching it most of the time because it's short, as you said. It's cash game, which is something that I am, that's what I'm mainly interested in. I don't really watch tournaments anymore except just the main event, because it's the main event and it's still pretty fun to watch. But I mean, I've always enjoyed it. I think a lot of my friends also play on the show from time to time too, so that makes it more interesting. Like my one of my friends, Ebony Kenny, I always enjoy seeing her on the show, and even though she plays like a big nit. So, do you?
Ebony was awesome. We miss her. We haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, she's do you look for, ideally, do you want entertaining personality, somebody like an Ebony Kenny who is, great to look at, fun at the tables, talks, drink, like she has a great time when she's playing.
We basically inform the players that if you're not gonna be interesting, we will pull you from the game. So, Matt Glantz, right?
Shout out to Matt Glantz. Of course I know Matt.
All right. Matt Glantz just started working for us at Poker Night in America. And his role is basically, he's handpicking the players for the tables. So that everybody comes to him now, and he tells everybody flat out, like, look, if you're gonna be a dud, we'll just pull you. And the great thing about Matt is he's got all the respect from all the players, and he's kind of hardcore. Like, he doesn't have any qualms about pulling somebody off the game. So yeah, to answer your question, we want interesting people. And I'm going to go out on a limb right here and tell you something about this weekend. We are about 80% sure that Jim Harbaugh is coming to California this weekend to play on our game.
The coach of the Michigan Wolverines, the former 49ers head coach?
That's correct.
Wow, that'd be pretty sweet.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it?
That's really fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I think he's I admire him as a coach. I think he's one of the best. He's purely one of the best. And I think it's awesome that he's coming. And the reason he's coming is because Phil Hellmuth, who's involved with our show, he invited him. And he's like, yeah, that sounds fun. And so we might see him this weekend. He's going to be playing for charity. He already got it approved from the NCAA. So we hope to see him Sunday on Poker Night in America playing with Phil Hellmuth.
That's awesome. That sounds really fun. I guess something like that could also have a potential effect where, once there are, different people of his stature that might come on the show, well, then that might make people more inclined to want to also do it in the future too. Well, this guy did it. This guy did it. This guy did it. Well, sure, I'll go on it. That sounds great.
Well, that's a very good point. Glad you made the connection there. I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was thinking, what if you're Jim Harbaugh and you're in the business now of recruiting? Now, I'm totally going on a limb here. This may have nothing to do with it, but if I'm the coach of the Michigan Wolverines, I was reading yesterday that he's duking it out with SEC teams to try to get these prize recruits. You know what? If anything, what we've known about Jim Harbaugh is he wants to win a national championship, right? Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind. So if he's trying to win over some recruits, who knows? Maybe an appearance on a TV show like this, it can't hurt, right? It shows that he's kind of hip and he's doing something that's, I would say is part of pop culture. I mean, poker is definitely a pop culture phenomenon. I think a lot of kids, in the college age have played with their friends and whatever. So who knows? Maybe he looks at this as just another way to increase his exposure. Maybe his cool factor. I don't know. You'll have to ask him. I'm totally speculating.
I wish you could ask him that. Actually, that's not a pretty good point. Actually,
well,
I mean, you never know. I mean, if it gives you like a 0.01% chance when you're competing at the highest levels of recruiting against the Ohio States and Alabamas, and I mean, I think he sort of speaks for himself with the success he's had and the type of personality he is, but I mean, it can't hurt. I don't think it could hurt.
I don't think it could hurt. No, I really don't. I mean, it kind of shows that he's cool. He's not maybe one of these other coaches is a little more traditional. Like maybe I won't name names, but we all know who some of the biggest coaches are in the country, and maybe this separates him a little bit. Who knows? It might just be an edge in one particular player who. You never know. I'm going to ask him if I get a chance. If he shows up, I'll probably look like an idiot because he won't show up.
Nah, well, if he doesn't show up, everyone just disregard what we just said the past 5 minutes. Please erase it from your brain if he doesn't show up. Thank you very much. Do you think what was that? I just met Richard Seymour down at the PCA in the Bahamas. He's a former football player. Yeah. And we chatted a little bit to talk to him. He was with Jason. We saw him out one night. He was with Jason Kuhn and Vince Wilfork, because I guess Vince Wilfork was down there, the former Patriot now on the Texans. He was down there railing Richard playing in one of the high rollers, and I was chatting with him for a while about if he's going to play more poker. And he's like, yeah, I really want to get involved in the poker world a little bit more and stuff like that. So I mean, that could potentially be someone you could reach out to, see if he'd be interested in playing on the show as well.
Do you have his number?
I do.
Well, DM him or text him and tell him we talked, because he'd be great.
Yeah, I think I feel like if you get guys like that, people. I've been trying to think about this. Like, people just love watching celebrities. People love watching well-known people. Even I do. I can't necessarily figure out why. It's just like people are drawn to that. So when they see these faces or they see like that, they're just going to want to watch poker more because this guy's on there or that guy's on there.
Well, in 2016, I feel like we're going to this is just step one. I think we're going to see a lot of new and interesting people on Poker Night in America. Last year we had James Woods, we had Jennifer Tilley several times. We've had some of the we've had Negreanu and Helmuth and the bigger stars in poker. But this year I'd love to get, like, I met a NASCAR driver last weekend in Vegas, and we talked about doing a whole NASCAR theme show.
Ooh.
And he said, "Oh yeah, I can get all of them. I can get Jimmy Johnson. I can get all these guys." So hey, it's just who knows? I mean, maybe a Rounders themed show, or I've thought about New York Giants versus Philadelphia Eagles fans. I mean, there's lots of things we can do. So there's no real limit to what we can do at Poker Night in America.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the different. I don't know if I guess they could be called gimmicks, with the ladies' night and had the different like nights you guys have with the type of people you have on. Like I kind of enjoy that. I like seeing like, oh, this night is these type of people, and then you can watch it, and it sort of like tells you a little bit about what to expect with the people on there, instead of, I guess, maybe a normal episode that might not have a title or might not have a theme of it, where if you go into it, it's just like, oh, these people are together playing. Is that something that you came upon by accident, or was that something that you planned out, like, hey, let's do these different types of nights and let's see if that's successful?
I think I've always thought that we could have special events. The first one was Ladies' Night, and then about it because Ebony was on it. But that was really kind of a whim. I think I just put it out there on Twitter. I just, hey, what if we did a Ladies' Night? Could we get enough people to play? And there was a lot of skepticism that we could even get 8 or 9 women that would be willing to do it. Well, that wasn't even a question. We got blown away. So that was really fun. I mean, it was a really fun episode. There was several episodes, actually. Vanessa Selps came to that, and she commented on tape that it was the most fun she's had playing poker in 10 years. So, mission accomplished. Let's have some fun with this. This is a game.
What other themes, I guess, poker wise? So you mentioned potential like a NASCAR theme or some things like that. Do you have any other poker related themes in mind, like a World Series of Poker main event champ theme or something like that? Do you have anything you're brainstorming about, you're thinking about doing?
Nothing that really comes to mind right now. I mean, this weekend if Jim Harbaugh does come, and we'll have some. This weekend is really interesting. Like we've got Chamath from Facebook, and he owns part of the Golden State Warriors. He's coming this weekend. You know who he is?
Yeah.
So we got some billionaires. We got some superstar football coaches. We've got another guy. I'm trying to find his name. Jason Calcanis, another like tech billionaire kind of guy who's, I guess he's really interesting. Of course, we've got Maria Ho. We got Phil Hellmuth. So it's going to be an interesting weekend. You throw a bunch of interesting people in the mix, and hopefully something good comes out of it. And then further down the road, we'll try anything.
So I guess you think there is a pretty large amount of value with featuring, people like Phil as often as you can, or someone like Maria, who's sort of now I feel like her exposure is growing. She's working with Poker Central, and so sort of featuring people in that position and having them on as often as you can, you probably consider that a thing you'd like to do. I'm
sorry, I'm reading something it popped up on my screen. What was that again?
No, I'm saying, so you probably want to have these higher profile people on, like a Maria or like a Phil Hellmuth, as often as you can.
Absolutely. Phil is obviously somebody we want on as often as possible, because you know what? He can be polarizing. I know some people don't like Phil Hellmuth. But that's okay. It's more interesting to watch, right? I'm trying to think of a good example, like Alan Rickman, who just recently passed away. Alan Rickman, he's the actor from Die Hard, right? Would Die Hard have been as good without Alan Rickman?
Well, I'm trying to remember Die Hard, and
dude, you are too young.
Would Die Hard be as good without Bruce Willis? No.
Well, you need Bruce Willis, but you need Alan Rickman. You need Hans Gruber. You need the bad guy. Don't you remember?
I feel like Die Hard 2 was pretty good too, and then he wasn't in that one.
Who's that?
I feel like Die Hard 2 was pretty good.
Well, he died in the first one. He fell. Don't you remember?
That's my point. It was good without him in Die Hard 2, though.
It wasn't as good. Die Hard was the best. But my point is, Phil Hellmuth, no matter what you think of him, he's interesting to watch. I dodged bullets. That was Phil Hellmuth. He said, I dodge bullets, baby. You remember that?
Of course I remember. Of course.
Seriously, the guy's he's got all kinds of memorable moments on TV. So yeah, we want him. We want Maria. We want people like Jim Harbaugh. This is cool.
Who are like the other guys that are like the top guys that you like to feature on the show?
Well, we had Negreanu once last year when we did our Twitch the first Twitch homepage event was really great. Those episodes are starting in April. But when we filmed them, it was Negreanu, it was Esfandiari, it was Phil Locke, it was Hellmuth. It was spectacular. I'd take Daniel every single time. It's just hard to get him. He's a busy guy. He's just busy, and he's selfish with his time, and I don't blame him for that. He's busy, and when he's not busy, he wants to relax. So it's hard to get him to the events. But we'll get Daniel back. I'm positive of that. Especially if maybe there's a golf course nearby.
Are there any other guys maybe under that super top tier of popularity that you like to have on repetitively?
Well, repetitively, James Woods was really good, and he had a good time. I know he'll be back this year. Hellmuth is actually really into this now, so he's been inviting some of his friends. He talked to Charles Barkley about playing. He talked to Emmitt Smith about playing. So hey, we'll see what happens in 2016, but if this weekend's any indication, there's really no limit to who we can maybe get.
It's interesting.
Everybody wants to have fun, right?
For sure. Do you Jamal in the chat says you need the average Joe on the show. What happens?
We do that too. If you came up to California this weekend, we're doing something called the hot seat, where you can step your way in to eventually $1,000 buy-in, and then the winner is a winner take all, and they get a $10,000 buy-in, which is theirs, and they get to sit down at the game.
Wait, so how do they win the seat?
You play a sit and go.
How much is a sit and go?
It's $1,000.
So 10-man sit and go, or 10 person sit and go. Shout out to the feminists. I don't want to get upset. And then the winner takes a 10K seat, and can they cash out any time if they play a certain amount of hands? How's that work?
We don't put any restrictions on them. We might in the future, but right now we just say buy in for you have to buy in for at least the $5,000 minimum. And if they truly don't want to play or get up or whatever, that's fine too. We're not here to, create a lot of rules. If you think it'd be fun, it seems to me that if you're going to play a game like that, personally, I think it'd be a blast to play poker with Phil Hellmuth, Maria Ho, and Jim Harbaugh. I think it'd be one of the most fun things I can imagine doing. So why would I want to not play? Why would you even enter a game like that if you didn't want to play? So we give everybody's got a chance. Moving forward, every single day you've got a chance to win your way onto the game. And it's only a 7-handed game now. We changed that too. So rather than 9 players, we only have 7. We find that the conversations are a lot easier to follow on TV. The camera angles are easier. You don't have seats next to the dealer to create that, blockage for camera angles. So all in all, it's been a real positive change that we did a few months back.
Interesting. So 7 people total. That's interesting.
Yeah. There's no rules, man.
What about a PLO night in America? The great game of Pot Limit Omaha, 4 cards instead of 2.
I love Pot Limit Omaha. We have a couple problems with that right now. First of all, there's no technology that we use RFID cards, so they pop up, and there's no program written that I'm aware of that can function using 4 cards. That might change. I might actually be wrong, but as of this moment, I don't know of the technology that exists, or at least the software that exists. Moving forward, sure, it's a possibility that we use a PLO game some night, but then again, you are talking about a game that a lot of people don't understand. And keep in mind, we are trying to appeal to, the masses. But you know what? We're going to produce 80 episodes of TV this year. So who's to say that we can't have a handful of episodes for Pot Limit Omaha? Why not? I'd like to do it. If we do it, you'll be on the first one, okay?
Really?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, well, I got invited to play at the Twitch live streamer one during Vegas this summer, but it was no limit, and I went out for 3 weeks straight. So I was like, nah, I can't possibly play. I mean, I was not in any shape to be putting in a poker session at that point in time. So it was Jay Seston says live at the bike is done PLO with RFID. It's possible. And also I played on a Poker on Air. Have you heard of Poker on Air before? They're based out of Akron, Ohio. They do Twitch live stream for cash games.
No, I don't know about it.
Yeah, we played in a half PLO, half no limit hold'em thing, and they had it where they could track the cards with the table side with whatever the laptop they had or something like that. So
it was a pot limit game.
Yeah, we played half and half PLO and then half no limit, and they the whole card showed up. During the actual live version of it, it was a little bit glitchy sometimes because someone has to actually register each card, and doing it live without any delay, it did have some issues. But for the most part, it went pretty well. So,
okay. Well, like I said, I'm not positive that there isn't software like that, but if anybody out there knows of any software that's compatible with RFID systems, let us know.
It's interesting. I was talking with them, and they were mentioning how they're sort of like growing. They have it in this a building, and they have a lot of people working there. It's a lot of production behind the scenes. I was pretty impressed by the setup they had, and they were mentioning how they wanted to maybe get in a casino or something like that. And I was like, well, there is a guy who's a professional at getting into casinos and letting them produce a show. His name's Todd Anderson. Maybe you should try reaching out to him and ask him if you can pick his mind a little bit, because you've done really well at just expanding into these different places and sort of taking it all over the United States.
Well, thanks.
What do you so you're going to California. Where else are you trying to go? Has there been any challenges to get in certain places, or are most people sort of open to having you guys in? This
is going to be a big year. We're going to be, after we leave California, our next stop was going to be for Poker Night America. Our next stop was going to be at Choctaw Casino in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And then also this year, it looks like we're going to be at the Aviator Casino in California. We're going to be back in Hard Rock in Florida. We're going to be in Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh, Sugar House in Philadelphia, plus a few more stops. If all goes well, we might even be in Europe this year, and we're going to have a poker night in Europe with European players, and kind of do something completely different. And I haven't even told you that we have a new show starting in a couple months.
I was going to ask you about it. I got that on the list right here. I was going to say, I know you have a new show coming. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, originally, it all happened because CBS Sports basically said, hey, do you have anything else? We love the poker content that you have coming from you. What else do you have in mind? And I said, well, what if we had a traditional tournament style show, but we changed the way that we commentated on the show? So I was thinking of an all-star cast. You know what? Poker Night America works, I think, because you generally get people that you've recognized before. The star power is on the game, is at the table. So the tournament series that we're going to be producing, that we are producing, we're going to have 4 really great personalities commentating on the game. And that show is called The Final Table. Let that sink in for a second, okay?
Okay.
We really tried to do something different, okay? It's not a tour. It's not called a tour. It's not called a series. It's called The Final Table, okay?
Okay.
And it took a long time to get to that name. We originally called it Poker Night the Tour because you're trying to encapsulate, what it's a tournament. It's on TV. So what do you call it? Well, it finally dawned on me a few weeks ago. I'm like, duh, let's just call it The Final Table, because that's what this is. Everybody in poker knows what the final table is, right?
Right.
We all aspire to be on the final table. So the show is called The Final Table. The host of the show is Phil Hellmuth and Jason Somerville. And the commentators are Maria Ho and David Tuckman. So we've got 4 great personalities. They're going to be commentating on our final 5. That's going to be our niche. 5 players, final table. And this weekend, we're having a tournament at Thunder Valley. And the final 5 players on Monday will take part in this new show called The Final Table. That's going to debut on CBS Sports Network in April.
So it starts off as a regular tournament that has a lot of different entrants, and then they play down to 5.
That's correct.
Is it an invitational, or anyone can buy into the tournament?
Anybody can buy in. We're anticipating at least 450, 500 players this weekend in a $1,650 buy-in.
So the hope is that you get some recognizable people at that, because I would think there would probably be personalities that you haven't heard of before that are going to be at the final table of these events.
I'm sure there will be. When it comes to a show like that, it's really a crapshoot. Okay, you might have 5 of the craziest, most uninteresting personalities you can possibly imagine, or you might have 5 guys wearing hoodies and sunglasses and headphones. So you need to be prepared for both. So that's why we surround them with Hellmuth and Somerville and Maria and David. So it doesn't matter. They could be, we could be watching, paint dry. Well, we've got some interesting people to talk about. So that's, I think, the difference with our new show called The Final Table. And CBS Sports is all about it. Phil Hellmuth's all about it. Maria and David are going to be there this weekend. I see it as kind of an NBA sort of thing where we've got the 2 announcers, which are David and Maria. They're going to be like announcing the game. And then you got Phil and Jason in the studio. So think about Charles Barkley and Irvin Johnson back at the studio. So we might lead off with Phil and Jason setting up the game, like who's on it. And then they come back at halftime and discuss, what the action's been and where it's going and what they predict. And we've got the old school Phil, and we've got the young gun Jason, and we try to maybe even create some conflict and make that interesting, and then go back to the game. We got Maria and David doing the analysis, and that's basically the show. And you know what? We're going to be in the studio next month in Vegas, and we'll see how it comes together.
So 2 things. One, how cool is it that CBS is like, hey, Todd, we're liking this show, man. You got one more for us, man. And then you're like, oh, sure. Okay. That sounds good. And then 2, it sounds like you basically took the Heartland Poker Tour and now you made a new one.
Yeah, you can say that. It's the Heartland Poker Tour on CBS Sports Network with hopefully interesting commentary. It's a 2.0. I'm trying to, nothing against them. I'm just trying to do something different, something new.
I gave a shout out to my buddy Tom Bannis in the chat, and Daniel D'Agostino. What's up, boys? Welcome to the. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
So we have two watchers.
Well, no, we have more than that, but there's a lot of comments happening in the chat right now. But I got to give them I got to recognize them specifically because me and Tom's one of my favorite people I met. He's one of the best storytellers I've ever met in my life, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can about telling a story from him. So it's
So what kind of pelt do you have in the back of you there? What is that?
What do you pelt?
Pelt above your guitar.
Oh, that's a spirit hood, Todd.
It's a what?
A spirit hood.
Oh, it's a hood. You put it over your head.
Hold on. Let me show you. I mean, I'm going to mess my hair up a little bit. Hold on a second. It's perfect for a guy that lives in North Dakota. It gets cold outside, so it stays warm. It's got the mittens right here. You can dance with them. I mean, people.
Is it a Native American thing?
Well, it's a music festival thing, and yeah, so people wear them to music festivals a lot, and what they're associated with is when people do something like ecstasy, their skin becomes very sensitive, and then people like rub. They feel like they're in like a comfort zone when they wear this type of thing. That's mainly what. To be honest, that's mainly what the music festival kids use it for. So.
Okay.
And I bought it because, of course, I wanted to keep it warm. So.
Got it.
Let me put it back up here. It fell. I'm just gonna keep it down there. Yeah, I feel like that'd be perfect for North Dakota. That'd be something to keep you warm up there.
Well, it was 20 below zero all last week, so that would have been nice.
And you have you don't have much protection up there. Are you bald by choice?
No, I went bald at an early age, and I decided to keep it short, live it, accept it. I'm totally fine with it. I think everybody should be bald. It's way easier.
I mean, this is pretty easy too. You just wake up and you push.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you put a lot of effort into that. You got that going for you.
I didn't realize how tall you were until I saw you at the poker conference last year. I was like, damn, Todd's he's tall as hell. What are you, like 6'5" or something like that?
Yeah.
Do you think that helps when you go into these negotiations or meeting with the potential investors or people that are interested, or even maybe potential celebrities that want to appear on the show? You carry yourself well. This tall guy, a big guy with the head. I mean, I feel like that's got to command some respect from people when they're talking with you.
It's mostly helpful in bars. Like if you walk into a bar, people generally, I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I'd avoid a fight at any cost, especially at my age, because everything hurts so bad. So but generally you can avoid trouble for the most part. So people think I'm the bouncer. Sometimes I can, get free drinks, things like that. But in terms of business, no, I think in business, you just gotta be, you gotta be honest and trustworthy, and you have to be somewhat smart. And that's my advice to anybody that wants to get into business. Be honest.
So you don't think it helps at all? You really?
I've never really thought about it.
I feel like I've read some different studies where they say in the business world, men that are taller typically are more successful. And obviously I don't know how they exactly gauge the data and determine the sample size for that sort of thing. But it seems like that's what just from talking with people that are in the, in the career world. I guess I'm not really in the career world. I'm in the poker world, which is certainly like this fantasy world. So, but they sort of tell me the same thing's true. So I wonder if,
I really don't know.
Maybe it's something to look out for. Are you going to the conference again, the awards again this year?
I don't think so. I'm going to California this weekend, and I'm going to London for the ICE convention on Sunday, and I'll be there for a week. And honestly, I think I might just stay home in the month of February. I've got 2 little kids, and it's just hard to spend that much time on the road for. I have to travel enough anyway, so I think I'm going to skip the rewards this year.
What did you enjoy the conference and the awards last year? Do you think it's what'd you think about it?
I did enjoy it. I thought it was kind of cool that everybody came together for it. I thought the turnout was more impressive than I even thought it would be. So yeah, I thought it was fun, and it was a little closer to me, and it was just a little easier to get. I'd do it again, but traveling all the way to LA, that's a long trip for me, and it's just just a lot of time on the road that I just value my time at home. So I think I'm going to skip it this year, but I'm sure you're going, and a lot of people will go. So have fun.
Todd, I don't know how this happened, but I'm actually nominated for an award this year.
Are you really? Which one?
I don't know how it happened. Media Person of the Year. Media Person.
You know what? Congratulations. Good for you. You deserve it. You're a hardworking guy.
I'm not going to win because I'm pretty sure Jay Carver is going to take it down. Jason Somerville is going to win this one, but I'm happy. I'm happy to it's
cool. Nominated is always great, right? We were nominated last year for innovation.
Twitch won, right?
Yeah, Twitch won, and they deserved it. So that's cool.
Yeah. We got Matt Glantz in the chat. What's up, Matt? What up, puppy? Says would love to have Joey on the show. Just hit me up, Joey. It's not PLO, but the games are super juicy anyway. Allegedly, Todd says we might have PLO. Yeah, Kevin Math. I think it's Kevin Mathers, Kevin Math, and Donnie Peters are nominated with me. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to win, but I'm just happy. I'm happy they consider it. I'm glad. I don't know how I snuck on there, but it's
You don't know. You might win. You never know. It depends on who the judges are. See, we didn't know who the judges were until the night of the show, and when they named the judges, then I knew we weren't going to win. So you never know. You might get big fans of yours being judges.
Yeah, I think I think I ran good. I did the Danny Negreanu podcast and like the Ansky podcast, which about the Poker Stars changes like in December and November, and those got a ton of views. So that might help. But I don't know. I think Jay Carver and Jason Sarver with his popularity with his tour and on Twitch, I think he's just like
Jason Somerville is the one that's taken over the poker world. He's the one that's crushing it right now.
I agree. I think he just does a great job in front of the scenes, behind the scenes, and he just crushes all areas of things. It's very impressive to see.
Yeah, he's good. We're happy to have him on our new show.
What do you think about, I guess, how important do you think Twitch is for you to get your product on there, for you to have your show on there? Do you think it matters, or is it just like sort of standard at this point in time to have your show, when you create a show, be on Twitch, which is what most people seem to be doing now? It's like, oh, we got to have it on Twitch. We got to have it on Twitch.
I'm still trying to come to grips with what Twitch is. I mean, the whole gaming thing that is 99% of Twitch, I just can't relate to, because it's watching somebody else play a video game. I just can't get my head around that. But I mean, obviously, it's a significant, it's this very, very significant business and a platform. So we definitely want to be a part of Twitch, and we were very thankful. Scott Ball from Twitch actually played on our event when we did it in Vegas this summer. And I think we have the record for the most number of concurrent viewers on a poker show over those 2 days. So we want to do more Twitch content. In fact, we're looking to add, like your friends in Akron, we're looking to add like a weekly, some sort of a Twitch content from Poker Night in America every week. So this weekend is the second time we'll be on the homepage for Twitch, and hopefully in 2016 we'll have more and more content, because I don't think you can really ignore it. I mean, look at what Somerville's done primarily through Twitch. So you can't really ignore it. I mean, it's a great platform. It's a great opportunity to get your product out there.
Yeah, I think just with the sheer number of people who click on things on Twitch and who just use the site, it's, I didn't really do my podcast on Twitch for a while. I just mainly had them on YouTube, and I didn't really do much on Twitch at all. But, when you just look at how many people are watching the content, it's only going to keep growing and growing as more people stream and as more people find the section and they become interested. So it does seem like it is pretty I guess, necessary if you're creating content to get it up there on Twitch for people to find it.
Well, that being said, I do want to point out that as popular as Twitch is, as important as it is, television is still television. And, you know, people might say, oh, I had 5,000 viewers on Twitch. Well, Poker Night in America we'll probably reach 500,000 people this week on CBS Sports Network. So let's keep it in perspective.
Wow.
People still have their living room furniture situated around a television screen, right? So being on mainstream television is still, you know, very, very impactful. Poker Night in America would not be where it is if we were just on the web. You know what I mean?
For sure. I think you sort of, I mean, I feel like the hardest market to really reach is the sort of like poker fans, the amateurs, the people who enjoy playing on the weekends with their friends in America. Because, you know, those guys aren't really online. They're not on Twitch. They're not on 2+2. They're not, you know, they don't really go to the casinos. So it's like, how can you get those guys? How can you find those guys, get them interested in your product? And it seems like the number one way to do that is basically television. I mean, I guess Facebook could potentially be talked about because everyone uses Facebook too, but television is sort of that's the way to do it. That's the way to find those people.
Television has been for a long time the 500, 600-pound gorilla. I mean, it is the most powerful medium. Period. The end. There's nothing even close. When politicians raise money to spend to market themselves to get elected, they use TV almost exclusively. There's a reason why tobacco can't use television. Too powerful. It's too dangerous.
Cycling Guy says, how does Poker Night in America make most of its money? Advertising, ? Buy-ins, ? Investing, ?
That's a lot of questions. Primarily advertising. You know, we're a television show. So we produce a TV show, we put it on TV, we sell the ads.
So you decide which ads are shown during the commercial breaks then on CBS or on the regional channels as well too?
Yeah, we sell the ads. We sell most of the ads in the show. And if we don't sell them, then CBS sells them.
How much does an ad cost?
Confidential.
Confidential? Well, how can we I'm trying to get the podcast on there, man. How much do I got to pay? It's a lot of money, isn't it? All right. I'm out. Never mind. Oh, how much? Give me an estimate. 20, 50, 20, 50, 10, 500?
Oh, it's more than that.
Holy fuck.
Well, it's on national TV, dude.
More than 100K?
Oh, I thought you said $100.
No, I'm like 100K. No, $100. What are you talking about?
It's not that. It's in the thousands, but it's not 100,000. It's in the small thousands.
Okay. What's that for, like a 30-second ad or something like that?
Yeah, that's a 30-second ad. We're looking for more sponsors. Always looking for sponsors.
Is that like flow in? Is there people flowing like you know, jumping out to, hey, I want to get my products on this medium?
It's not. They don't jump on. It's not like jumping in the boat. We don't have fish jumping in our boat because poker traditionally has been, you know, when it was Poker Stars and Full Tilt that was funding all this, it was a whole different landscape. Now we're looking for mainstream sponsors. We're looking for, you know, we're trying to be a traditional media-driven entity, but we're not there yet. We're working on it.
Yeah. What's the biggest challenge for you guys right now? Probably
that. I'd say sponsorship. You know, players want to play, casinos want to have us, viewers are watching. Sometimes it's hard for, like, let's say that you're a media buyer for, I'll pick out XYZ Subway. You know you can buy traditional media and get all you want. We need you to look outside the box and think, okay, poker, okay, yeah, is it gambling? Yes. But a poker audience is a great audience because they have higher than average income, they're disposable spenders, they're male. So, but a lot of people, for them, it's taking a chance, you know? Like if you're a buyer in New York for a brand like that, it's much easier and safer for you to go the safe route. So we have to sort of try to get people to think outside of that envelope.
Could you contact, I'm guessing this is like probably like a level 1 thing, but get in touch with the people who are sponsors that work with something like WPT or World Series of Poker, sort of like see the companies that are mainly getting advertised on that and reach out to them and see if they'd be interested to do something with you as well?
You know what? It's a problem for all of us. I think if you were talking to people from WSOP or World Poker Tour, they'd tell you the same thing. The WSOP, since we started, when you think about their advertising, they have Walker Stuff Light, they have Jack Lane. It's hard to get this fun.
Your audio went deaf, sort of, but I can still hear you. I think you covered it up.
Tell you what, man, it's 4 o'clock. I got another meeting to take, but it's been really fun talking to you. We'll do it again.
All right, man. Let's wrap up. Todd, nice chatting with you, buddy.
All right, see ya.
Thanks for coming on. I'll see you later. Guys in the chat, we're keeping it short today. Much love. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with one of the best PLO players in the world, Jeans89. It'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, which is about 21 hours from now. We're going to get some shout-outs after he left now. Since he's out here, we can give official shout-outs to everyone in the chat. Show some love. We got my buddy Tom Bannis out there, man. Much love, Tom. Much love, kid. I look forward to seeing Tom next month for the Survivor premiere for Anakate, who is Pork Player, who's going to be on Survivor next season. Jamal Smitty, what's up, puppy? Thanks for tuning in. Earl, much love. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Let's see. Lost in Poker, as always. Derminator, thank you for causing some trouble with your fellow Indians. Kev Math, keep up the hard work. Kev Math, Matt Glantz, shout out to Matt. Demon7151, what up, puppy? Cameron Martin, raised twice. Lachetti, CT. D-Neg is a bad reg. My buddy Marco, of course, Rounder for life. Butt Farm Poker. I got to touch the mic. Watch. It hits me in the face. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate all the comments and questions throughout. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. And I don't have any podcasts lined up for next week, but stay tuned. That's it. Peace out. Check out Poker Night America. You can check out the website. I think it's pokernight.com. And check it out on CBS Sports. That's it. Adios. Martin van der Erst. Peace out. See you guys later.